Hi, my name is Sonia NOTANI. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at INDIAFIRST Life Insurance. I am privileged to be where I am today. I have worked for the last 17 years almost, and I handle a range of profiles. I take care of products, marketing, PR, corporate communications, strategic alliances, direct and digital sales, and customer experience. And it's been a fantastic journey to say the least. So let you know, the way I see my career, I see it as a journey with some very interesting milestones and some very fun decisions that worked out for me. I would like to start at the time that I actually decided to go to college. I chose to go to St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. They were kind enough to accept me. And I think that was the first defining moment of my life. It gave me tremendous exposure to various vocations. It opened my mind to the world, and it also made me realize what I don't want from life and what I want from life. And it kind of makes you a very fungible personality because you appreciate a lot that is around, and you also decide for yourself what you want to be and want to do. I was very clear that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be very relevant, and I was ambitious. I am ambitious. So at that point in time, I chose to do an economics graduation from St. Xavier's College, and then I did my MBA from Narsi Monji. I think my first job was also a very, very defining moment in my career. I chose a job that actually gave me cross-functional and cross-industry exposure, a very difficult thing to get at that age. I was all of 21, 22 and stepping into the corporate world, and I got to see industries ranging from financial services, insurance, to real world sectors, as they were called then, in the manufacturing space, which included steel and aluminium, cement. That's because I was working with the Aditya Birla Group, and they have this fantastic leadership program where they rotate you. And interestingly, that was also a very defining personal moment because it's on this program that I met my husband. And, so this entire journey has been extremely interesting, starting at the Aditya Birla Group. The one very, very important thing that my first day and my first job taught me is that you need to always be part of the solution. The industry doesn't matter. The context doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to choose that, you if you identify a problem, which side are you on? And how do you always go for that and, break the clutter from getting pulled down into the problem? And that helped because you went to different industries and you realize people are the same, emotions are the same, context is a little different, but everything else remaining the same. You always need to find a way to solve the problem. So that was a fantastic journey. After that, I had the opportunity to work for some equally big brands such as the Aditya Birla Group. I moved to Reliance Life Insurance, Citibank, KPMG Advisory. And there again, I had a very different exposure to a very senior level of management, of how you think, because I worked on strategy. And that took me to what I call the best career decision of my life, which is INDIAFIRST Life Insurance. And it was a very, very difficult decision when I took it because, I was in my 20s, and we were talking about a company without licenses, owned by two public sector banks, and there was so much uncertainty around it. But from where I sat, I saw, hey, startup, new chance, a funded startup, amazing chance, and a chance to grow with the company. So, it was a hit. It was a high risk, high return game, and it's worked out really well. So I started over here as a project team member with no designation and no level. And, that's the time when you're looking for all this. And I took the jump, I took the leap of faith, and it's the best calculated risk of my life. And I've grown the ranks with the company. I joined this company without licenses. It was the 23rd entrant in a 24 entrant industry today. And right now we are ranked in the top 12. And it's been a journey which is of accelerated growth, innovation, a lot of new experiences, a lot of achievement. And I think that's what validates it. So, and I've managed to grow with the company. I'm part of the management team here, I'm part of the leadership team, and I hold a whole portfolio of functions that work with me, and that gives me immense pleasure and pride. All through my career, the one thing that I have learned, and more so in my period with India First Life Insurance, is that action is often more important than inaction. So there is no bigger risk than inaction. So you have to choose smartly. You have to quantify or measure or observe and be prepared for a downside. But the biggest downside is not doing something. So that I think has been a major learning for me. The other very big learning that I have is that success always favors the prepared mind. There's nothing as luck alone. Yes, you'll have your ups and downs. Things will work out. Things may not work out. Not every decision will go as planned. Not all your life plans will happen at the time you have planned them to happen. But I think if you look and you want and you dream, there is absolutely no reason you won't get it. It's just a matter of sooner or later. So success does favor the prepared mind. You have to be there. You have to take opportunities. You have to be prepared. And the third thing is passion and perseverance. You can't give up. It's so easy to give up. So I think to be passionate, to believe in what you're doing, and to continuously bounce back and to stay on course, I think is a very big strength that anyone who develops. And I'll say it more for the women in India, because there are so many conditioned thoughts on opportunities to give up that, and it's considered in a very positive and beautiful light. Oh, she gave it up for this or for her family. It's almost celebrated, that you quite often can question it. So I think the ability to stay the path is very, very important. I've personally not seen too much difference in from a gender lens, right? And I think I've been tremendously lucky. I also come from a household where we're two sisters, and we've always been we never felt that we are women or we are sisters or anything of that sort. The one thing that was taught to us very early on in life was, go ahead, make your own decisions, but you live with your decisions. So the downside of a choice is also yours. The upside of a choice is also yours. And I think that is a very important learning for any leader, that the ability to say the buck stops with me, the ability to say accountability, responsibility is mine with the empowerment. There's this famous Spider-Man saying, right, that says, with great power comes great responsibility. So I think that's a very, very key headline for any leader to live with, because as a leader, you are typically driving a force, you're driving an agenda. You are also motivating and taking along a team, because alone you can't get anywhere. Now, to match both of these, you need to, be very, very accountable for your team, responsible, yet give them enough space and time and ability and empowerment to do it. So it's a fine balance, but the buck stops with you. So whether it is on the decisioning and you accept lesser solutions is also your problem. So you have to sometimes fight to get the best in class outcome. Secondly, from your team, it is your job to ensure that they feel secure, they feel motivated, and yet you raise the bar. So that's one very, very important learning for me, is that with great power comes great responsibility. The second thing that I feel is on the team management front. I think, the whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. All these individuals together and the outcome that they can provide is where the difference lies. Whereas individually, nobody will be able to give that sort of immense impact that you can give together as a team. And I think that is, again, a very, very important learning for any leader. But what I would guard against here is the difference between what you call a nice leader and a good leader, right? A nice leader is somebody who will keep everyone happy. A good leader is someone who will give them opportunity, you'll keep them happy, but you'll give them opportunity and you'll raise the bar. Because that's the job why you are here. You're not here to be the most popular guy in the room, right? So I believe that this is another very big learning as a leader, that you have to take your team along with you, but that doesn't mean that you lower the bar, you dilute the experience or the expectation or the goal for which you are there in the first place. So one more point that actually comes to my mind as an employee and as a person in a given ecosystem is that stay true to yourself. You can't always please everybody. You can't be someone you are not. So you need to be who you are and stand for your principles, as well as contribute, because if you don't make a difference, you don't have to be there. So your biggest ask from an attitudinal point of view is you have to make a difference. That's exactly the reason why you are there. So you make a difference, you contribute, but you can't always compromise. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. You can't always please the world. So you choose, is this the right place for you? Are you contributing rightly? Do you believe in it? And only do it when you're there. Because if you don't, and if that's a disconnect that you have with the organizational objectives and your personal objectives, you're never going to make it happen. So I believe that people should be true to themselves. And that actually is a very important factor to stay happy day in and day out, because you do spend 10 to 12 hours of your day at work. And in India particularly, we typically end up doing a 50 to 60 hour week. And in that environment, you can't be compromising on your personal value system or your personal style. And sometimes you just need to stick up your neck and say, this is who I am. And most people will actually appreciate it. So that's more a management lesson that I've learned along the way, because there are many people with many inputs, and you need to figure where you stand in the scheme of things. This year has been extremely interesting for the life insurance industry. I belong to the life insurance industry. So I'll give you a little bit of an industry perspective, and then I'll tell you a little bit of the corporate side of the perspective, right? As an industry, we are still a relatively new industry. We are just about 20 years into the opening up in the country. And there are a limited number of players. There are some entry barriers to entering this space. And it's highly regulated. Having said which, the scope is tremendous. Just about 4% of penetration of insurance in India, of life insurance in India. And we are from a country that has a relatively low social security measures that are mandated by the government. So there is a lot of opportunity for risk protection, financial management, and long-term retirement planning, because it doesn't come with the ecosystem. You need to create it. And a life insurance company actually provides for all of this. So the opportunity is immense. What happened during this entire COVID period is people became very aware of their own morbidity and mortality. You saw unexpected downsides for very healthy people. And I think this entire pandemic made a person realize that, they do need to plan for the worst. And that sort of works in the favor of insurance. So we saw a lot of people looking to purchase insurance in this time. They wanted to get educated about it. The other thing that happened is people started looking for products that assure your future. So it's not only about insurance, but also any savings that gave you fixed returns which won't disappear. So money that won't go away, which won't fall because of volatility, but something that is here to stay beyond 3 years, beyond 5 years, to even 10 years or 15 years, in which insurance is one of the only industries that provides this sort of product where the company actually absorbs the reinvestment risk. So a customer is committed today for the next 20 years. And any downside in the economy will be absorbed by the company. So this became an attractive proposition also in a period of uncertainty. Now, while all this sounds great from an industry point of view, how is a customer behaving? Where do we meet our customers? So we typically, for our industry, the customers are far and wide. For example, INDIAFIRST Life actually caters to 98% of the PIN codes of India. Now, naturally, we don't do that purely online. We do have digitized processes, but it's a phygital model. We do have our bank partners who actually cater as a front end to the customers, or some other partners that we've tied up with, and we digitize the process. But now there was no front end. So what this gave us is an amazing opportunity to actually connect with customers across the country in the deep pockets through their mobile phones, through the internet, and actually bring service and sales to them. Now, initially, though there was some resistance, we have seen so many people who have actually come on board an online experience. So, the way it originally was, as a marketer, for me, there were two types of customers. There were these digital, migrants, which is a large part of India, which is the people who are above the age of 35, 40, who even above 30, people who are not born with a mobile phone or a swipe screen, right? You learned it along the way. So you are still adapting to certain payment mechanisms. You're still adapting to technology and using it for day-to-day experiences. And then there are the digital natives. The people who've been born with the mobile phone, they find it's a but obvious thing that you will use internet and mobile to get everything done. Now, what we saw is in the online space, it is this latter category of the natives who typically enjoy their journey online, which is they're faster, they're quicker, their decision points are different, their attention spans are shorter. But the digital migrants take a lot more time and they need a lot more information, and they're also learning along the way. I think COVID accelerated their learning curve onto the online space. So today they're all connected, and it's largely through a mobile phone, not even a physical desktop. And that has made us very enabled to reach out to this audience, to give them more information, to educate them, as well as bring about points of decisioning and purchase and service, self-service. A lot of people just would normally expect physical service. So we are seeing this trend, and the beauty is that people have been accelerated to go down this road, and that has enabled so many companies and so many people to actually take a little more control over their decisions, over their journeys, and proactively interact with us and engage with us. What did we do as a company during this time? We actually went multilingual, because you are now dealing with people. So we have a multilingual website because now people are coming on your website despite the language. We went and actually enabled our distribution through online webinars, because while, at the end of the day, our distributors are our bread and butter and we are theirs. And our customers are eventually the distributors' customers, the bank's customers. So we wanted to equip them fully with the same knowledge that we are providing directly online or otherwise. So we did these 2 or 3 things, and we're seeing very similar trends around the globe, because COVID has happened everywhere. Now, in this fast-moving world, agility is your key thumb rule for any winning outcome. You can't keep waiting, because by the time you plan and implement, it will be done. So you need to move fast and you need to move small. You pick up something, you evaluate the trend, you see if it works for you, you adopt it and you move on. And if you can't, it's okay, there's a next trend. So I think agility is a very, very important trait at times like this, where you are using fast-moving digital technology, you're using social media, you're using website, you're using content, which is fast-moving and it's not here to wait for you. I also think companies need to leverage the new opportunities in technology that are coming along, whether you talk about blockchain. It's been a buzzword, but you evaluate it, see how you can apply it to your organization and make the most of it. But even simple stuff like robotic process automation, so many bots are available. It does help to have all these enablements in a time like this, where the world is suddenly now online, into self-service. The customers are there. Now it is your job as an organization, as an industry, to educate them, onboard them, give them comfort, service them, and actually keep them with you for the long haul. So it's been a very interesting 9 months, and I see that change is here to stay. I personally think that women leaders in India are still lesser than they should be. I think there is a lot of opportunity for women to actually get out there and grow. We see a lot of change happening where people are encouraged to go and achieve. I don't think they're encouraged to sustain. And there I want women leaders to not shy away from wearing ambition on their sleeve. I believe that you should stand up for your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. I don't think you should be embarrassed of saying that you want to be financially independent. I think that is something that is very important for any individual, and there is no gender discrimination in that, because you don't know when you need that. And if that gives you more confidence, if that gives you an ability to stand tall, you should do it. I would specifically ask everyone to not get bogged down by conditioned trappings, as I call them. So what happens is we are conditioned to believe, people assume that if you've had a child, you will not want to go back to work on time, or that you will not want to do these hours, or people assume for you, and you need to break that assumption. And as corporates and as organizations, I believe they have to understand and accept that women, because of the cultural, socio-economic fabric that we live in, may need some flexibility, but they do not need concession. And that difference is extremely important. Flexibility, ability to deliver, as long as both those are there, then what is the problem? Nobody's asking for concessions. So women leaders, wear your ambition on your sleeve. Don't give up. It's not okay to give up. If you want to be there, you should be there. So that's a message I would like to leave for the women leaders, in specific in India more so than any other place. And overall, as leaders, I would like to say that have purpose. It defines why you do what you do. I would like to believe that customer is king. That is why you are part of an organization. And it is your job to make the customer's life simpler and validate why you and every other employee are doing what you are doing. And for everything that you do, know the bigger picture, believe in it, and take your team along, because that is where you will be relevant, and you will have sustained relevance only when you can do that. So for all great leaders, if you remember them, you'll know how they changed the world. And it started with them believing in a purpose. So that's what I would like to leave as a thought to all leaders, that have purpose, drive the dream, and take people along with you.